So with that very simple example, we have already know how to do A or N. I will also post up an exercise on A or N for you to try it out on your own, okay? And you can hand it in, you can copy and hand it in, and I will give everybody who hand in that particular assignment a 3 marks extra. Okay, oh sorry, not 3 marks, 3 marks is a bit too much. It'll be a 2 marks extra. So that means in this particular course, you're going to have a 102 marks, if you bother to do that particular exercise or practice class. Okay, that I'll be posting up for you all to try out. Okay, and yes, so then the other idea is free float. Free float is basically the particular activity. You are looking at the network and you're checking out the particular activity. This is a bit more complicated than total float, because total float you're just doing the top and bottom minusing with one another, but this one here is a bit more complicated, because free float is actually the project, the spare time or the float time that is available for that particular activity without delaying the next activity. So we call it free float, and we need this information. Okay, so basically you need to go through each and every one of the activity and look at the free float. So here, if let's say I'm looking at activity A, so what will be my free float? My free float, I'll be taking this number here and I'll be looking at what are my succeeding activity. If I have 2 succeeding activity, 6 and 6 here, if there's only one succeeding activity like this one, you only have one succeeding activity. Basically the formula is to take the succeeding activity, ES of succeeding activity, or I plus 1 minus of I, the EF of I. Okay, so this is 15 minus 15, so it's 0. So the free float for B will be 0. The free float for C will be 4, because you're taking 15 minus 11. Okay, is that clear? And if I look at the free float for this particular activity, I will look at the succeeding activity, and how many succeeding activity I have is only 1, you see. So with this succeeding activity, you're taking the EF of, ES of I plus 1, which is D plus 1, basically is E, so 22 minus of the EF for that particular activity, the I that you're looking at, this is D, okay? So 22, so this is going to be 0, so this is 0. So here, of course, is 0 because you don't have anything at the back, okay? So here you've got 2, so which one do you pick, you see? So 6 minus 6 or 6 minus 6. In the event that there's more than 2 activity, you need to pick the minimum after you minus. So if this is, say example, if this is 7 and this is 6, so 6 minus 6 will be 0 and 7 minus 6 will be 1. So between 0 and 1, you are picking the free float for the minimum, so it will be 0. So here you put 0, meaning all this will mean that if you delay, there's no room to delay A at all without delaying the subsequent activity. Okay, and here you've got room. You can delay foundation for 4 days before the next activity will be affected. Okay, so this is the idea of free float. You are actually, this time that is available in order for you to understand that it will not be delayed. You're not delaying the subsequent activity, and you're asking, why do I want to bother with that? Because the bigger picture is total float. As long as you got the total float right, you are actually quite safe. You know where to put your resources in the event of delays, or where to put your resources if you need to crash activity, meaning that there will be circumstances that you completely need to shorten the time of the project. Then you need to go to those critical path activities and reduce them by putting in more resources to help them to finish faster, so that overall the project can be finished faster. So that is what we call activity crashing. And then, or in the event of delay, you need to know where to focus your resources on as well. So what about free float, you see? So free float is basically the spare time that is available for that particular activity without delaying the next activity, and that will be very useful when it comes to playing with your resources again. And this is a time that if you know for sure that that particular activity can be delayed for a certain amount of time, you could pull away some of the resources for a certain amount of time that is available on the free float, so that that particular resources can go somewhere else and work, and you can arrange it to go to some other activities in the same project or some other activities in other project for it um, to actually make a full use of that particular resources. So in the event of that happening, you can have less resources um, in your study. Okay, so here you can put four. There's a 4 days here for foundation, meaning that I can take away my four guys. I mean, I can take away 3 or 4 person from my foundation work and borrow it to another activity, for example, in another project. Or this is basically, like I say, this can be a just one particular activity. You can actually send these 3 guys to actually do concreting for drainage work. Maybe there's something happening over there that you need some concreter and bar benders. You see, so very easily you can actually send them over to that site and actually get them to work on that site without delaying the foundation, because you've got 4 days extra here. So these are the ideas of free flow. It's actually playing with activities, try to use it for multiple project planning. And the technique itself, I'll explain it next week, okay, once we've got this idea right. So I do not want to go any further because this is actually quite a heavy thing. So this is a very simple example for you to dwell on, for you to play around with, and for you to think about and go through it carefully. Next class, I will give you another example, and that will be AOA. And then from there, I will start to explain a bit on resources, loading, crashing, example of that, and resources crashing, and also resources loading and leveling and adjusting of resources and all that, for you to fully understand the idea of playing with resources in multiple project planning and also in multiple activity planning on site as well. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, there's quite a fair bit of things here that for you to digest, and I hope you can digest it over the weekend. Can I just basically get you to do 2 very simple definition, okay, on what is a free float and what is total float, that is available through listening through this particular recording, and you can actually write that down in 2 sentences, okay, and then that will be your attendance record. Okay, so do that, and I will give you until next Tuesday. Okay.